Hi, everyone. Welcome to the webinar and workshop series conducted by TCS in lieu of the upcoming SCS exams happening in August 2026. My name is Nick, and I'm the lead tutor and evaluator for SCS at TCS. So let's look at the session outcomes. As I promised in last week's masterclass and workshop, I'm going to take you through your E3 syllabus, which carries the highest weightage as per the CIMA examiner. 60% of the questions will be based on your E3 syllabus, and therefore it is the widest syllabus out of the three which can be tested at your exam. And also, I will be conducting a masterclass, thereby directing your attention towards a question taken from one of our mock exams, mock number 1 to be precise, which is focused on an E3 related element. And as usual, I will be sharing a study plan with you. If you're still contemplating about what you need to do to pass this examination, if you're yet to start your preparations, or if you're lost about what you need to do to pass this exam, you need not worry. I'm going to share a 10-day study plan with you. So let me quickly remind you of the final workshop, which is happening next Saturday at 9 GMT or 10 AM UK, in which I'm going to share last minute tips with you to make sure that you are capable of walking into the exam with a high level of positivity. Because as per the CIMA examiner, if you believe in yourself, if you're confident before the exam, you are going to be confident on the day of your real examination. So just like how you have attended the weekly webinars and workshops, I invite you to attend the final workshop, which is happening next Saturday. And let me quickly take you through your E3 syllabus. So if you look at the E3 syllabus, it is divided into various different areas. So the first part is tied to strategy evaluation and formulation. So your knowledge concerning strategy evaluation models will be tested, as well as the examiner tests whether you can assist your decision makers, thereby be involved with strategy formulation directly and indirectly, because as the senior finance manager, you are supposed to report to your finance director. So when reporting to board members, definitely you are involved with strategy formulation, as well as you should have the capability to evaluate various different strategies, making use of various different tools. And on top of that, your knowledge concerning corporate governance and ethics will definitely be tested, because as I mentioned earlier, you are directly reporting to board members. So you need to ensure when you are recommending something, or when you are evaluating a decision which the board intends to finalize, you need to ensure that the board is always upholding ethical behavior, good ethical business practices, as well as corporate governance best practices. So your knowledge concerning the combined code of corporate governance, which is practiced in the UK, as well as the CIMA ethical framework, which is widely known as the COPPI framework, or the confidentiality, objectivity, professional competence, and due care, professional behavior, and integrity framework, can be tested at your exam. And also your knowledge concerning board responsibilities will be tested, because as I mentioned previously, you are a direct report to the board. So as an individual who is directly reporting to the board, you should have a good understanding of the various different roles or responsibilities the board should carry out. So let me dig deeper into each of these three main elements. So your knowledge concerning objective setting, as well as setting critical success factors and key performance indicators, will be tested at your exam. And in today's masterclass, I'm going to direct your attention towards a question concerning objective setting, critical success factors, and KPIs, or key performance indicators. And your knowledge concerning some type of a diversification can be tested at your exam. It could be us trying to pursue some type of a vertical integration, or us pursuing an unrelated diversification, thereby trying to move into a totally new market. Both these angles can be tested at the exam, and both these angles are therefore covered within our 7 mock exams. And also your knowledge concerning real options will be tested, because as an entity which is operating in a dynamic business environment, we have to deal with various different options. So your knowledge concerning how to deal with these real options will be tested at your exam. And also be prepared to evaluate an acquisition scenario as well as a divestment scenario. So with the intention of pursuing related or unrelated diversification, we might try to acquire another company, or we might try to merge with another company. And alternatively, if you look at our financial statements, our profitability and revenues at dipped. Our revenues have dipped by 19%, therefore our profits have dipped by 29%, which highlights that there's something wrong in terms of how we generate revenues or in terms of how we manage our costs. And on top of that, if you look at our share price, it is at the lowest levels as per the information shared via the pre-scene. So in such an environment, it highlights that there's something wrong in terms of how we operate as a business. So definitely your knowledge concerning divestment option can be tested at the exam, because it makes sense to close down part of our business, a branch of our business, to make sure that we are not exposed to undue costs or inefficiencies in the future. So that's why both these angles can be tested, because we intend to grow as a business, and at the same time, given our financial issues, there could be a situation where we intend to divest a part of our business. So both these angles are covered within our 7 mock exams. And also there could be a situation where we are facing an acquisition bid, especially given the fact that our share price is at the very lowest level, and especially given the fact that there are some financial issues which we are facing at the moment. As I mentioned earlier, that's why our revenues and profitability had dipped. So in such an environment, a larger company, a financially stable company can try to acquire us. And when we are facing such an acquisition bid in the future, we might become a subsidiary. So this angle should be considered. That is why we have covered this within our 7 mock exams. And also your knowledge concerning how a company is supposed to pursue growth, both organic as well as inorganic growths, will be tested. So organic growth is a situation where we grow on our own. So organic growth happens as a process, and therefore takes a lot of time, because we have to utilize our skills and capabilities when we are trying to grow on our own, which might expose us to financial and non-financial issues. However, if you look at inorganic growth, this is a faster option in terms of entering into a new market or growing our business, thereby pursuing some type of an acquisition or trying to merge with another company. So the speed is good for us. It lets us improve our market standing fast. However, there are disadvantages to inorganic growth as well. For instance, when we are trying to merge with a company or when we are trying to acquire another company, we have to deal with various different cultures, which might expose us to complexities in the future. And not just cultures, we'd have to deal with various different systems. We'd have to combine these systems, practices and whatnot. So all these things might expose us to complexity. So both these angles can be tested at the exam. And also your knowledge concerning digital strategy will be tested, especially given the fact that in this day and age, everything is becoming digital, and we are operating in a fast-paced environment, business environment. We are operating in a highly innovative industry. So when this is the case, definitely your knowledge concerning digital strategy will be tested. So be prepared to evaluate a certain digital strategy which we intend to pursue at your examination. And also your knowledge concerning the emergent approach to strategy formulation will be tested, because as a quoted company, we have been in operation within this industry for a certain period of time, and we have built a reputation which is based on quality. And it appears that we are adopting the rational planning model. So a rational planning model is a situation where you need to go through various different steps before you finalize a decision. And usually the rational planning model is adopted by companies which are operating in a stable business environment, and who can plan concerning the next 3 to 5 years. Because when you're operating in a stable business environment, your plans will be accurate, because you can easily forecast what might happen in the upcoming 3 to 5 years. So that's a rational planning model. At the very end of the spectrum, we have the emergent strategy formulation model, which is adopted by companies which are operating in a highly unstable business environment, because when there is a lot of volatility, when we are not in a position to forecast what happens within our industry, then rather than going through various different processes and wasting a lot of time to finalize our decisions, we need to take instantaneous decisions as and when we want, and therefore we have to react to market dynamics at all times. And Kwirtmak is operating in one such business environment. Our business environment is rapidly changing, and there's intense competition, which is driven by innovation. So when operating in such a business environment, rather than sticking to a rational planning model, it makes sense to adopt an emergent approach to strategy formulation. So that's why this element can be tested at your exam. And also be prepared to deal with legislation, because as per what's highlighted within your pre-scene, as per what's highlighted, to be specific, as per what's highlighted within your risk report, there is a mention about our exposure to regulatory risks. So when we are dealing with a business environment which is driven by changing legislation, definitely we have to disclose about these changes in legislation, and what we have, the type of steps we have taken to fall in line with this legislation within our financial statements. So that's why you should be prepared to deal with a scenario or a question tied to how to deal with these disclosures at your examination. And also be prepared to deal with shareholder concerns, especially given the fact that Kwirtmak is a quoted company. As a quoted company, definitely our prime objective should be to satisfy our shareholder needs. As I've mentioned in the previous webinars and workshops continuously, as a quoted company, our job is to satisfy our owners. And our owners, another term which we can use concerning our owners is shareholders. So our job is to satisfy our shareholders. So that's why we have to deal with shareholder concerns at all times and take instantaneous action to satisfy our shareholders. And also, you should know how to deal with a share price drop, because when the share price drops, it highlights the fact that the market or the investors are not really confident. The shareholders are not really confident about our business. So this is not too good for our reputation, and this might expose us to operational and financial risks and issues in the future. So that is why it is essential that you have a sound understanding of how to deal with a share price drop, how to conduct communication. If there is an issue which we are exposed to at the moment, which leads to a share price drop, given our beta, I've highlighted this point previously as well, our beta is 2.3, which is extremely high. So if the market is fed with bad news about us, then it will result in a sudden drop in a significant drop in our share price. And as I mentioned previously, our share price is already low. When this is the case, if something bad about us reaches the market, then our share price will decline instantaneously, and we might face bankruptcy, given the fact that our share price is already low. So that is why you should know how to deal with a share price drop. Definitely this angle will be tested at your examination. And also you should have the capability to utilize various different tools with the intention of evaluating different strategic options. So your knowledge concerning competitor analysis will be tested, which is a tool which is widely used when we are trying to acquire another company or when we are trying to merge with another company. So you need to identify the angles especially our internal audit department should consider when conducting a foolproof competitor analysis, because you should not just look at the financials. You need to conduct due diligence, and at the same time, you need to look at the non-financial elements, because if we don't look into these angles when trying to analyze a competitor, we might end up acquiring a company which is not actually suitable for us. And after acquiring a company, if we figure out that this acquisition is not going to work, or this merger is not going to work in the future, then it will impact our operations, our financials, our reputation, therefore our share price in an adverse manner. So that's why you should know the exact angles we are supposed to consider when conducting a competitor analysis. And also another tool which can be tested is concerning scenario planning. In the past 5 to 6 years, I've seen a question tied to scenario planning appearing within at least one single variant. So as you know, as per scenario planning, you are supposed to consider at least 3 different angles when trying to evaluate a strategic option at our disposal, because rather than simply focusing on one single angle, it is beneficial to focus on 3 different angles so that we are conducting an evaluation in a foolproof manner. And which 3 angles am I talking about? You need to consider a best case scenario. So when we are exposed to or when we are trying to finalize our decision, a strategic option, for instance, we need to conduct foolproof evaluations, and we should therefore consider about a best case scenario, trying to forecast what we might encounter if everything is rosy, if everything is working according to our plans. And on top of that, the second scenario which you need to consider is the worst case scenario. So you need to, just like what we considered a best case scenario, we should consider a worst case scenario in which we are trying to contemplate about, we are supposed to contemplate rather, about what we might encounter if everything goes wrong, if our forecasts as well as our plans are wrong, or if we are encountering any complexities or inefficiencies in the future. So it is better to consider both the pros or a best case scenario as well as a worst case scenario to conduct a foolproof evaluation. And not just these 2 ends of the spectrum should be considered when conducting an evaluation or when evaluating a strategic option. We should also consider the most probable or the most practical scenario, which is the middle ground. So the most practical scenario gives us an indication of what we actually can achieve as per what the industry offers, or as per various different stakeholders offer, and at the same time as per our financial and non-financial resources. So these are the 3 scenarios which you need to consider. At least these 3 scenarios should be considered when you're conducting a scenario planning initiative. So the 3 scenarios are a best case scenario, a worst case scenario, and the most probable or the most practical scenario. And another tool which is used to evaluate strategic options is the SA framework, or the suitability, acceptability, and the feasibility framework. Under suitability, you are supposed to consider whether a certain strategic option is aligned with the vision, mission, values, and the business model of our chosen company. So that is why I've highlighted, when conducting the pre-scene analysis sessions, I've highlighted the importance of knowing pre-scene information, because if you take steps to really gain an in-depth understanding of the vision, mission, and value statements, as well as various different internals concerning your chosen company, then during the exam, you need not try to read through the pre-scene, because if you try to do so, you'd end up wasting time. So that is why we have shared the annotated pre-scene with you. That is why we have shared the pre-scene analysis videos with you, and that is why we have shared the pre-scene mind map with you, so that before walking into the exam, you have the opportunity of gaining a clear insight about what appears within your pre-scene. And when you have access to this pre-scene, the summarized version of the pre-scene, or the pre-scene mind map, you have the opportunity of memorizing the most important points highlighted within your pre-scene before walking into your examination. So, this is what you need to consider under the suitability framework. You need to consider whether a certain strategic option is aligned with our vision, mission, values, and our business model. And under acceptability, you need to consider how a certain strategic option impacts our main stakeholders. So you need to consider the information highlighted within the unseen, and you have to have the capability to spot the type of stakeholders we are supposed to deal with when trying to pursue a certain strategic option. And then evaluate each and every stakeholder and how each and every stakeholder might be impacted and how they are going to react if we move forward with a certain strategic option. And under feasibility, you are supposed to consider both the financial and non-financial resources at our disposal, because when we're trying to finalize a certain strategic option, it might be aligned with our vision, mission, values, and our current business model. It might end up satisfying our major stakeholders. But if we do not have the money to invest on the project, then we are not in a position to move forward with the project. When I was doing my CIMA exams, there was an exam called the top CIMA examination, which was our final exam those days. This was after the strategic level exams. There was a totally different exam called the top CIMA exam. And in this examination, there was a question which is tied to the SA framework. And when I worked out the numbers, I did the maths wrong, and I got a significantly adverse figure, an NPV. And because of that, although I knew that I'm supposed to recommend to go ahead with or finalize a certain strategic option, everything was good concerning this suitability and acceptability elements. But since my NPV figure was extremely bad or extremely negative, I ended up recommending not to go ahead with the strategic option which was thrown at me during the exam. And I ended up passing the exam, especially given the fact that the examiner understood that I've gotten the numbers wrong, but I utilized my numbers and conducted a foolproof evaluation. So that is what is expected from you guys as well. So under feasibility, everything could be good concerning the suitability and acceptability, but if we do not have the financial and non-financial resources to implement a certain strategic initiative, then we should not recommend to move forward with a certain strategic option. So that's what the SA framework is all about. Again, the SA framework is utilized to conduct a foolproof evaluation considering various different angles, because usually decision makers have a tendency to only look at the pros or the cons of a certain strategic option. But when you utilize tools such as the scenario planning exercise or the SA framework, then you are looking at multiple angles, which ensures that you are conducting your evaluations or you are evaluating a certain strategic option in a foolproof manner. And another tool which can be utilized or which can be tested rather at your exam is the PESTEL framework. So you should know that PESTEL, this framework is utilized to evaluate the macro environmental factors which are usually not under our control. Which macro environmental factors are we talking about? The political, economic, social, technological, legal, and environmental. So for instance, let's assume we are trying to expand to a totally new country. And when doing so, we need to keep tabs about the political environment. If the political environment is not too good for foreign investment, then the economic factors will work against us. And on top of that, we have to keep tabs about how the society is going to react to foreign investment and the type of business we are trying to set up within a foreign country, and how the technological factors will either help us or be and if there's something wrong with the technological factors, then we are not in a position to conduct our business, especially given the fact that we are into manufacturing 3D printers. And on top of that, we have to keep tabs about the legal factors as well to see whether a certain country is FDI friendly or friendly towards international businesses. And also, we have to look at environmental regulations as well. If there are strict environmental regulations, given the type of raw material we end up supplying to our customers, these raw material are not really sustainable. And on top of that, given the carbon emissions tied to 3D printing, we might not face or enjoy a good relationship with regulators if the environmental concerns are strict within a certain country. So, these are the ways in which your knowledge concerning the PESTEL framework might be tested at your examination. So that's everything to do with strategy evaluation and formulation. And looking at board responsibilities, you should know how to manage some type of system incompatibility, especially given the fact that when we are trying to pursue some type of diversification, or when we're trying to grow our business, we might end up acquiring another business, we might end up merging with another business. So when acquiring and pursuing some type of a merger, we will have to connect our own systems with the acquired companies, or the company with which we are merging. So when we are trying to do so, definitely we will encounter system incompatibility. So that is why you should know how to deal with such incompatibilities, because definitely when we're trying to merge with another company or acquire another company, it's quite normal to face any type of system incompatibilities. And also you should know how to manage the internal business environment, because problems do not come only from the external environment. We have to contemplate about the type of issues or complexities we might encounter when dealing with our internal stakeholders, especially our management as well as our employees. So you should have a good understanding of how to manage the internal business environment. And also when we are trying to do something new, it will impact our existing business ecosystem, and it will end up us being forced to change the business ecosystem. So this angle will definitely be tested at the exam, because the examiner tells us that we intend to grow and we intend to move into totally new markets. And when pursuing these type of diversifications or expansions, it will end up changing the business ecosystem. And also tied to these type of changes, your knowledge concerning change management as well as overcoming resistance to change will be tested. And also your knowledge concerning stakeholder management, especially concerning what is highlighted within the Mendelow's matrix, will be tested. Always remember, when managing stakeholders, try to understand the level of power and interest of each stakeholder group. And based on the power and interest, you can categorize each stakeholder as per the Mendelow's matrix. And the Mendelow's matrix clearly highlights what you need to take, the type of strategies we need to adopt with the intention of managing each type of stakeholder group. And also you should know how to deal with disciplinary action in a legal and ethical manner, because when marking your papers, what I've understood is a fact that most of you think that disciplinary action should be pursued with the intention of demoting someone, or suspending someone, or kicking someone out of our business. That is not the objective. The objective of conducting disciplinary action is to actually ensure that employees learn from their mistakes, and they have the capability to continue with the business. Unless and otherwise they keep repeating the same mistakes over and over, or they are negligent at all times. We have to make sure to train our employees with the intention of ensuring that they will not encounter issues in the future. So that's the objective of conducting disciplinary action. So again, this is covered within one of our mock exams. And also your knowledge concerning what to look at when appointing a risk manager, the rationale for appointing a risk manager, and as well as you should be ready to suggest the responsibilities such a risk manager should carry out, especially given the fact that there are shortcomings within our risk report. So this highlights the fact that there could be a situation where you are supposed to appoint a risk manager within our business or within part of our business. And also be prepared to face a question tied to appointing a board committee, especially concerning sustainability, or it could be cybersecurity as well. You need not know both the angles, because the logic is the same. When it comes to appointing a board committee, you need to look at various different angles. And if you watch the master classes and when you read through the answer plans, you will understand the exact angles which you need to consider when it comes to appointing a board committee. So these are the syllabus areas which can be tested at your exam, which are tied to enterprise strategy or your E3 syllabus. Okay, so That's your syllabus. And having said that, let me direct your attention towards the masterclass, which is based on objective setting, critical success factors, and KPIs. So I'm going to direct your attention towards mock number 1, section 2. The time allocation is 60 minutes. The CFO stops at your workstation and hands over a document. Please go through this document, which is an excerpt of board minutes. I need your advice on following matters. So I'm going to direct your attention towards subtask B. Before I read through this requirement, let me quickly take you through the reference material. So this is the same reference material which I took you through in last week's P3 workshop, because I directed your attention towards subtask C, if I'm not mistaken. No, sorry, I looked at a different section, but I took you through this reference material so that you'd have an idea of what I was discussing. So the board is considering the launch of a new digital service platform called Kwirtmak Connect, or KMC. Under this proposal, Kwirtmak's commercial 3D printers would be linked to a cloud-based platform that would allow customers to do various different things. So what are we talking about? We are talking about a new digital service platform which we are introducing to the market. And what is this new digital service platform? This is known as Kwirtmak Connect, or KMC. And what does it do? As per KMC, or the Kwirtmak Connect digital platform, Kwirtmak's commercial 3D printers will be linked to a cloud-based platform that would allow customers to achieve various different things. So we are offering a digital service which is a cloud-based platform. So what does this cloud-based platform offer? If someone subscribes to this Kwirtmak Connect digital platform, customers have the ability to monitor printer performance in real time. They can receive predictive maintenance alerts, so they will not encounter any issues with the printers whenever necessary. They are, when they receive a notification about when they're supposed to maintain the printers, then they will never encounter any issues, because, as you know, predictive maintenance is a situation where we end up fixing our printers before we encounter any issues. So this is going to be extremely beneficial for our customers. And also, customers can install approved software updates automatically, so they need not really be worried about installing software updates. If they utilize this KMC platform or the Kwirtmak Connect platform, then they can easily update their software, which will be carried out automatically. And they have access to AI-supported printer setting recommendations. So we are utilizing artificial intelligence, and we are by utilizing AI, we are suggesting printer setting recommendations, which is going to be extremely beneficial for our customers. And they can also integrate more easily with leading 3D CAD packages. So customers might use their own 3D CAD packages, and these software or these packages can be integrated with Kwirtmak Connect easily. And also, they have the capability to benchmark material usage, downtime, and print accuracy across sites. So they have full control over their printers, and on top of that, they have the opportunity of gathering data about the performance of their printers. So these are the benefits on offer to our customers if they enroll with this digital platform, which is Kwirtmak Connect. Customers would pay an annual subscription fee for access to Kwirtmak Connect. So this is a subscription-based model which generates additional revenue streams for us. Several directors believe that the board should establish clear strategic objectives and measurable performance indicators before committing to full investment. Yes, it makes sense, because we have to set objectives and key performance indicators to ensure that this new project is fruitful for us as well as for our customers. Okay, so that's the reference material. So let's look at what your requirement looks like. You are supposed to recommend appropriate strategic objectives for Kwirtmak Connect and evaluate the critical success factors and KPIs that the board should use to assess its success. Okay, so as per our answering technique, the first step is to read through the scenario. That's exactly what I did right now. And after doing so, you are supposed to simplify the requirement in your own words. Why are you supposed to simplify the requirement? Because when you simplify a requirement, your objective is to gain clarity. Because if you do not have a good understanding of what you are supposed to cover in your answer, you might end up developing an answer which will not gain you good marks. So I highlighted these things in the fourth at the fourth webinar. I took you through the examiner's comments which were taken from your exam blueprint, and the examiner has clearly mentioned that if you are to develop good answers, you need to develop answers which are aligned with each requirement. So if you are to develop answers which are aligned with each requirement, you need to gain a good understanding of what you're expected to cover in your answers. That is why you are supposed to simplify each requirement in your own words. So that's exactly what you can see here. Concerning Kwirtmak Connect, you are supposed to explain strategic objectives and key performance indicators. Okay, so I've covered the second part of, or the second step rather, as per our 5-step answering technique. And then you are supposed to develop headings and subheadings. As you know, you need to develop a heading per subtask. So if there are 3 subtasks in your answer, there should be 3 different headings, and each main heading should be in bold and underlined format. And if you want, if you want to fraction out your answer, you can utilize subheadings, and each subheading should be in bold format. So let me quickly direct your attention towards the relevant area of the answer plan so that I can explain the type of headings and subheadings I've utilized. So I've utilized just a main heading which reads as objectives, critical success factors, and key performance indicators, and this is in bold and underlined format. Okay, so we are done with the third element, and the fourth element is then to develop the answer plan. And before you develop the answer plan, you need to understand how many points you need to include in your answer. And you are supposed to determine the number of points which you are supposed to include in your answer by looking at these weightages. So we are looking at subtask B. So the weightage provided is 40%. As you know, a total of 50 marks are dedicated for each section. So 40% of 50 marks come up to 20 marks in total. And each valid point will carry 2 or 3 marks. And assuming that each of your valid points will carry 3 marks, divide 20 by 3. And assuming that each of your valid points will carry just 2 marks, again divide 20 by 2. So when you divide 20 by 3, you get an answer which is 7. When you divide 20 by 2, you get an answer which is 10. So if you include 7 to 10 valid points in your answer, you are going to get full marks. Okay, so now you know how many points you should include in your answer. Then you should focus your attention towards structuring your answer or developing the answer plan. So let's try to understand how we should tackle this type of a question. So first things first, let me explain the theory element concerning objectives, critical success factors, and KPIs. So the board members, when they are involved with decision making, when they try to finalize a certain decision, they try to develop a set of objectives. They might set one single objective, or they might set multiple objectives. And these objectives should be achieved in the long run. If so, then we have successfully implemented a certain project or a strategic option. So in this instance, we are contemplating about introducing a new project, a digital platform, which is cloud-based, which is offering various different cloud-based services to our customers. And these services will benefit us because we are gathering a lot of data about printer performance as well as material usage and whatnot. So all these data will benefit us as a business as well. So this is a cloud-based platform, Kwirtmak Connect, a new project, a new service which we are trying to offer to the market. And before we introduce such new initiatives to the market, we have to contemplate about what type of objectives are we trying to achieve in the long run. So with the intention of ensuring that this project is successful, we have to set objectives. So that's exactly what you can see here. I've started my answer by, setting out certain objectives. Okay. And after we set out objectives, we need to understand how we should work towards achieving these objectives. That's where critical success factors come into play. So if we do not achieve the critical success factors, we are not in a position to achieve our objectives. So we set the objectives first. After setting the objectives with the intention of ensuring that we are in a position to achieve these objectives in the long run, we try to contemplate about the critical success factors, or the factors which we need to really achieve, the factors we need to cover in order to achieve future success, and in other terms, in order to achieve our objectives. So that's why the second step is to set critical success factors. And in order to ensure that we are moving towards achieving our critical success factors, we need to set key performance indicators. If we are achieving our key performance indicators, then it highlights the fact that we are achieving our critical success factors. If we are achieving our critical success factors, then we are headed towards achieving our objectives. So the objectives are usually set by board members whenever they are evaluating performance of a certain strategic option or a new project. They are trying to understand whether we are achieving our objectives or not. The critical success factors impact middle level management or tactical level management. Their responsibility is to ensure that the operational level employees are pushed towards achieving the critical success factors, and these middle level managers, their performance is kept track of by the board members based on whether they are achieving the critical success factors or not. Similarly, when providing leadership to operational level employees who are involved with implementing the decisions are taken by board members as well as tactical level managers. But when it comes to implementation, it is the responsibility of operational level staff members. So in order to keep tabs about whether the operational level staff are doing their job properly or not, we are supposed to set key performance indicators or KPIs. So the objectives are set by board members usually, and then the critical success factors measure performance of tactical level managers, and key performance indicators measure performance of operational level employees. Okay, so that's the theoretical basis behind objectives, critical success factors, and KPIs. Then now let's try to understand how you should deal with application. So application is all about relating to the current situation at hand. And as you know, we are contemplating about introducing a new digital platform, which is known as Kwirtmak Connect. So the objectives which we should set to keep tabs about these projects are multifold. So first things first, we have to ensure that we end up creating a recurring subscription revenue, because as I mentioned earlier, the objective of introducing, one of the objectives of introducing this new project, as per what's highlighted within the reference material, is to create a new stream of revenue. So that is why one of our objectives should be to keep tabs about whether this project is generating recurring revenue streams for us. And also, if this platform is successful, it will lead to customer satisfaction. Customer satisfaction ultimately leads to customer loyalty and retention. So we have to keep tabs about whether we are retaining our customers who are utilizing this platform. If not, there's something wrong with KMC. And also, we have to focus on improving customer productivity and printer reliability, because via this platform, we should not only contemplate about the benefits we are going to gain, we should always contemplate about what type of value we can generate for our customers. So that is why we have to ensure that this platform ends up ultimately improving the type of productivity customers enjoy, and as well as we are in a position to offer higher reliability in terms of how our printers operate and function. And also, we have to think about how we position ourselves in the market, and whether we are in a position to increase our competitiveness due to us offering this new cloud-based platform. So our objective should be to strengthen our competitive position within this industry, because as you know, we are operating in a highly competitive, innovative market which is ever changing. So it is better to offer better services in the future with the intention of improving our market share. So one of our objectives should be to offer integrated additive manufacturing solutions and build a reputation as a company which is offering end-to-end integrated additive manufacturing solutions to customers within this market. And also we will benefit from the data which we gather, which can be utilized for future innovation. So this should be therefore one of our objectives as well, which is tied to generating high quality operating data by selling this subscription based digital platform to our customers, which will definitely support future innovation, because when we gather a lot of data about printer performance as well as material usage, printer downtime, we are offering predictive maintenance, automated alerts and whatnot. So all these things, all these various different data sets will ensure that we have a good understanding of how our printers operate and what our customers are looking for when utilizing our printers. And this type of crucial information will lead to better innovation in the future. Okay. So these are the objectives which we need to set. So objective number 1 is to create recurring subscription revenue, a financial objective. Objective number 2 is to strengthen customer retention, a non-financial objective which is tied to sales. And also objective number 3 is to improve customer productivity and printer reliability, thereby generating value for our customers, another non-financial objective. And also objective number 4 should be to improve our competitive standing within this industry, another non-financial objective, which will lead to better financial performance in the future, and also to benefit from the data, which leads to better innovation in the future, another non-financial objective. So I've set out the objectives, and then you should focus on suggesting critical success factors, and aligned to these critical success factors, you have to suggest key performance indicators with the intention of achieving these objectives which I've highlighted. So you have the opportunity of suggesting any type of objective. So what I've done is, when suggesting these objectives, I've not thought about the critical success factors or KPIs. I've simply focused on what our board intends to achieve, or what they should focus on achieving as per what's highlighted within the reference material. Because what type of services are we offering to our customers? We are enabling our customers to monitor printer performance in real time, and this leads to value creation. And they are in a position to receive predictive maintenance alerts, again, which leads to better printer performance, and we are offering value to our customers. And they have the opportunity of installing approved software updates automatically, again offering better value. And also they can access AI supported print setting recommendations, which leads to better innovation, better understanding of how our printers operate. And also they can integrate their own 3D CAD packages, as well as they have the opportunity of benchmarking material usage, printer downtime, and printer accuracy, or print accuracy rather, across sites. So with the intention of keeping tabs about these things, I've set the objectives. So let's try to understand the type of CSFs and KPIs you should suggest with the intention of achieving the aforementioned objectives. So in terms of achieving platform reliability and ensuring that everything is secure, we have to set a set of KPIs. So by offering this platform, we are trying to add value to our customers. We are trying to offer an additional set of services which will impact our competitiveness in a positive manner. So if we are to provide real value to our customers, we have to ensure that our platform works in a reliable manner without any hiccups. And also we have to ensure that our platform is secure. Why is this the case? Because as per the reference material, we are allowing our customers to integrate their 3D CAD packages with our own digital platform. And also, we are offering the service of installing approved software updates automatically. So in these two elements, we are integrating KMC to the systems utilized with the systems utilized within customer premises or customer businesses. So when this is the case, we have to ensure that we uphold cybersecurity. If not, due to a security issue with KMC, if a hacker can enter into our customer systems, then our reputation will be impacted adversely, and no one will end up utilizing KMC thereafter. Okay, so that's why we have to focus on, one of our critical success factors is to ensure that the platform works without any hiccups. If that is the case, we are in a position to offer real value to our customers, and we have to ensure cybersecurity. If not, it will impact our reputation, operations in an adverse manner. And, the demand for KMC will significantly drop if customers are exposed to cybersecurity issues due to this new platform. And so I'm suggesting this critical success factor to ensure that KMC is reliable. If not, customers will see it as an operational risk. So that's why we have to look at platform reliability and ensure we achieve cybersecurity. And what type of key performance indicators can be utilized with the intention of ensuring that we achieve platform reliability and cybersecurity? We have to keep tabs about system uptime. By keeping tabs about system uptime, which critical success factor are we trying to achieve? Platform reliability. And number of critical incidents. Again, what are we trying to identify? We are trying to keep tabs about platform reliability, and we have to look at the number of cyber breaches as well. And the number of cyber breaches will give us an indication of the strength of cybersecurity which we offer when this platform is in use. And I've, not just suggested KPIs, I've come up with a justification, because always remember, you are playing the role of a senior finance manager. So when you are evaluating something, you need to back your evaluations with appropriate arguments. And whenever you are recommending something, your recommendations should be actionable. Because after you respond to an email in a real life corporate setting, if the board members are not really satisfied with your evaluation or your recommendations, or if the board members need further information, they can reach out to you. But during the examiner cannot reach out to you. Once you have finalized your answer, once you have submitted your answer, based on it, the marker is going to give you marks. So always remember, if you are to get good marks, whenever you are evaluating something, back your evaluations with appropriate justifications, or back your arguments with appropriate justifications. So come up with justified arguments when you are trying to evaluate something. And whenever you are recommending something, always think whether your recommendations are actionable or not. Okay, so I've not just mentioned the KPIs, I'm also looking at the evaluation element, because I'm highlighting the fact that system uptime alone is not enough, because the system might be up, but poor user experience will end up dissatisfying customers. So we should ensure that the customers never encounter cybersecurity issues, and we should ensure that the customers are never experiencing any issues which will hinder platform reliability. Just because the platform is up, we should not be satisfied. We should always ensure that the UX or the user experience is good. If not, it will lead to customer dissatisfaction. So this is the first critical success factor and the related KPIs which I'm suggesting. And looking at the second critical success factor, we have to look at customer adoption. Why should we look at customer adoption? Because one of our objectives is to create recurring subscription revenue. Okay, so if you are to enjoy recurring revenues, we have to ensure that customers actually end up utilizing, or we end up attracting new customers to or pushing or encouraging customers rather to utilize this platform. So the platform succeeds only if customers subscribe to this KMC platform, as well as they end up actively using the features, because a customer might end up subscribing to this new platform, but if they do not see real value in the features, or if they are not really aware of how to utilize the features, then they might end up calling off the subscription 2 or 3 months down the line. That should not be our objective. Our objective should be to ensure that customers keep using this platform, and by doing so, they will end up generating revenues for us. And on top of that, most importantly, they end up generating value for themselves. So in order to keep track of whether customers are actually are believing in this platform, which leads to higher adoption levels, we have to set KPIs. So we have to look at the number of subscribed customers, and on a monthly basis, we have to keep tabs about how many customers are subscribing to this new platform. And also we have to keep tabs about the percentage of installed printers which are connected to this new platform. So let's assume within a certain region, we have sold 100 3D printers. So out of these 100 customers, how many are actually utilizing KMC? So we have to keep tabs about it, because in the initial stages, not all customers will end up utilizing KMC, but if we conduct marketing appropriately, if we try to negotiate with our customers with the intention of influencing them, if we are in a position to show them the benefits of utilizing this platform, and therefore being in a position to convince them to subscribe to this platform, then this percentage will increase in the future. And we have to always keep tabs about renewal rates. If the renewal rates are increasing, it shows that customers love this platform. If the renewal rates are decreasing, it shows that there's something wrong with the platform, or we have not really convinced our customers to keep utilizing this platform. And also, we have to keep tabs about feature usage rates as well, because as a company, we can offer various different features via this new platform. However, out of the features, customers are only utilizing one. If the customers are only using one or two, then they might not really be aware of what is on offer, or they might see this platform as something which is actually not adding value. So it is essential that we keep tabs about feature usage rates to ensure that customer adoption remains increasing in the future. So the evaluation which I'm suggesting is the fact that it is extremely essential that we keep tabs about renewal rates, because it shows whether customers continue to see value after adoption. So our objective should not be to simply sell this platform right now. Instead, our objective should be to ensure that customers keep using this platform in the future. If so, we are in a position to offer better value on a recurrent basis, which will lead to recurrent subscription revenues in the future. So that's one of our critical success factors tied to customer adoption, and I've suggested the relevant KPIs as well. And the third critical success factor is to measure whether this platform delivers operational value to our customers, because we are offering various different services or information to our customers, and the prime objective of doing so is to add value to our customers, because if we add value, we are in a position to increase our or strengthen our market standing. And also, if we offer good value to our customers, we are in a position to strengthen customer retention and create recurring subscription revenues in the future. Okay, so that's why I've suggested the third critical success factor, which is tied to value delivery. So Kwirtmak Connect should improve performance through predictive maintenance, software updates, and AI-supported recommendations. That is exactly what is highlighted within this reference material. So you are gaining marks for application. And in order to ensure that we end up delivering value to our customers, we have to keep tabs about certain angles. That's why I've suggested these KPIs. So we have to reduce unplanned downtime. because as per this platform, we are supposed to offer predictive maintenance alerts to our customers. So these predictive maintenance alerts should lead to a reduction in unplanned downtime, and also it should lead to reduction in failed print jobs, and it should improve printer uptime, and it should improve output accuracy as well. So if our printers are if this platform is actually working, then it should add value to our customers. What type of value are we talking about? Reducing unplanned downtime, reducing failed print jobs, improving print uptime, and improving output accuracy. And why am I suggesting these type of KPIs? To ensure that we keep tabs about whether this strategy is creating genuine customer value. Just because we offer a set of services, the customers will not keep believing in these services in the long run, unless and otherwise we are in a position to offer real value to our customers. So that's why I've suggested these KPIs. Why did I do so? With the intention of keeping tabs about whether we are actually offering value to our customers. If we offer value to our customers, we will be benefited by strengthening our position within the market. It will lead to better customer retention and therefore better subscription revenues in the future. So you can, I hope you can easily see the connection between KPIs, critical success factors, and objectives. And fourthly, we should focus our attention towards ensuring smooth integration with customer workflows and CAD systems, because as per what's highlighted within this reference material, this Kwirtmak Connect platform will ensure that the customers have the opportunity of installing approved software updates automatically, and also they have the ability to integrate more easily with leading 3D CAD packages. Their own CAD packages should be integratable to this new platform. So that's why I'm suggesting this fourth critical success factor, which is tied to smooth integration with customer systems or workflows and CAD systems, because poor integration will definitely impact adoption. And if that is the case, it will impact our revenues in an adverse manner. And also, poor adoption highlights the fact that we are actually not offering any value to our customers. So the KPIs which I've suggested to keep tabs about integration to workflows and systems is to keep tabs about the integration success rate, the implementation time, how long it takes to implement these systems and integrate these systems rather, and also the number of onboarding related support queries. Not just the number, we have to keep tabs about the type of onboarding related support queries as well. And also we have to keep tabs about customer satisfaction with setup and usability. So a major component of this platform is not just implementation, we have to focus on integration as well. So if we achieve this, if we offer smooth integration, then we are in a position to strengthen our market standing, and we are in a position to offer better value to our customers, because it will smooth integration of various different software and systems will ensure that customers will benefit from productivity, and this leads to better printer reliability in the future, and this leads to strengthening customer retention and also recurring ensuring that we enjoy recurring subscription revenues in the future. So, and also the fifth critical success factor is tied to quality and usefulness of data or insights, because one of the objectives which I highlighted is not really focused on our customers, but it is focused on what we can enjoy by offering this service to our customers. Because I said that one of our objectives should be to generate high quality operating data, which will definitely support future innovation. So in order to achieve this objective, the critical success factor which I'm suggesting is to keep tabs about the quality and usefulness of data or insights we gather via KMC. KMC should generate learning benefits which will lead to future innovation, customer-centric innovation. And what type of KPIs am I suggesting to keep tabs about? The quality and usefulness of insights. We have to keep tabs about the number of product improvements identified from platform data, and the speed of resolving software issues, and the percentage of customers using analytics as well as AI recommendations, because one of the services on offer is AI supported printer setting recommendations. So that's another KPI which I've highlighted to keep tabs about the quality and usefulness of data as well as insights. And the evaluation is the fact that this critical success factor and these KPIs shows whether Kwirtmak is gaining a genuine learning advantage. Okay, so this critical success factor and evaluation is tied to our final objective, which is to generate high quality operating data which supports future innovation. And also, we should look at financial KPIs as well. We should not forget the financial KPIs. So what type of KPIs are we talking about? Subscription revenues, digital gross margin, as well as average revenue per customer. And this will ensure that we achieve one of our objectives, which is to create recurring subscription revenues. So these are financial angle. So my evaluation is the fact that these financial KPIs should not dominate, because the objective of creating this new platform is to offer value to our customers. By offering value, we are poised to generate additional revenue streams, and we are in a position to gather useful and important data about printer performance and whatnot, which will lead to future innovation. So that is why I'm saying that we should really primarily concern ourselves with critical success factors and KPIs which are focused on non-financial elements, because as I mentioned a while back, our objective of offering this platform is to offer value to our customers. That's why we should primarily focus on critical success factors and KPIs which are non-financial. Also, on the other hand, we should look at financial elements as well. So that's why I'm saying that financial KPIs should not dominate. Why am I saying this? I'm not just mentioning this point. I'm backing my argument with appropriate justifications, because excessive focus on financial measures encourage short-termism. So if we excessively focus on financial KPIs, our sales teams will try to drive sales towards KMC, but in the long run, customer adoption will drop. Customers, if they do not see value in the long run, then it will impact our revenues in the future. And if that is the case, we are not in a position to keep gathering crucial data, which will lead to better innovation in the future. So that is why we should not excessively focus on financial measures, because it encourages short-termism. It encourages people to sell KMC right now, rather than contemplating about really focusing on highlighting the type of value on offer. And when we are trying to drive or highlight or market the value on offer, it takes a bit of time for us to generate revenues. So if we solely focus on financial KPIs, then we will be disappointed with our performance concerning KMC, and we will end up discontinuing this digital platform. So that is why we should not look at financial KPIs primarily, given the fact that we should focus on marketing the value on offer. And when we are marketing value, it takes a bit of time for us to convince our customers, because customers, just because we say something, they won't really see value. They will have to utilize this platform for some time to really understand the benefits on offer. So that is why it will take us a bit of time to generate sales. So that's why we should not solely focus on financial metrics at the moment. Instead, we really need to focus on critical success factors and KPIs, which are supposed to be non-financial. So that's why I'm saying that we should prioritize long-term value creation related critical success factors and KPIs. Okay, so that's your answer. I hope you understood the connection between, or the link between, the objectives, critical success factors, and the KPIs which I've suggested. And then your final point or your final step is to expand the answer plan in paragraph form by developing a paragraph per answer point. So when you are finalizing your answer, once you have developed an answer plan, you need not type your final answer from scratch. If you try to do so, you will end up wasting crucial time. Instead, simply connect all these points which you have highlighted in your answer plan, thereby by utilizing filler words. When you do so, you can easily develop a paragraph per answer point. So if you look at our suggested answers, you would identify how you're supposed to do this in a practical manner. So the first paragraph reads as Kwirtmak should set explicit strategic objectives for Kwirtmak Connect that reflect what the board is trying to achieve. And these should include creating recurring subscription revenue to reduce reliance on one-off printer sales, creating recurrent subscription revenue, strengthening customer retention by embedding Kwirtmak more deeply into customer operations, strengthening customer retention, improving customer productivity and printer reliability, improve customer productivity and printer reliability, strengthening Kwirtmak's position as an integrated additive manufacturing solutions provider, strengthening our position as an integrated additive manufacturing solutions provider, and generating high quality operating data to support future innovation. That's exactly what you can see here. So it's simply this answer plan is simply the summarized version of the suggested answer. So you need not type everything from scratch. You have already planned out your answer. Simply connect all these points by including filler words. That's exactly what you're supposed to do. And I'm going to take you through this paragraph as well, so that you'd gain a clear insight about how you're supposed to expand your answer plan in a jiffy. A critical success factor will be platform reliability and cybersecurity. Platform reliability and cybersecurity. And if Kwirtmak Connect is unreliable, customers will see it as an operational risk rather than a benefit. Okay. KMC must be reliable. If not, customers will see it as an operational risk. And suitable KPIs would therefore include system uptime and the number of critical incidents or cyber breaches, system uptime, number of critical incidents, and number of cyber breaches. However, uptime alone is not enough, as a system may be technically available while still delivering a poor user experience. System may be up, but poor UX or user experience dissatisfies customers. Okay, so this is simply, if you look at the suggested answer, it's simply the extended version of the answer plan. So that's why I'm saying that when it comes to expanding the answer plan, don't type your answer from scratch. Simply connect all these points using filler words, thereby developing your answers in paragraph form. Okay, so that's how you should tackle a question tied to objective setting, critical success factors, and KPIs. And having said that, before I explain the 10-day plan or highlight what you are supposed to achieve in the upcoming 10 days in order to pass this exam comfortably, let me quickly tell you what we offer at TCS. So I'm on the SCS page. If you're yet to create a free user account, click on this button and create one. Then you'd gain access to our student dashboard. And once you are in our student dashboard, click on My Courses. In front of SCS Free, you'd see an Access Content button. Click on it. And then via the Videos tab, you have the opportunity of gaining access to the recorded versions of the weekly webinars and workshops we have conducted so far. Via the Study Material tab, you'd gain access to the pre-seen mind map, the answer plan of mock exam 1, which is our free mock exam, as well as the syllabus coverage document, which I took you through at the very beginning of today's session. All these documents are downloadable. You can click on the download button, and you have access to the questions and suggested answers of mock exam 1. And via the exams tab, by clicking on mock 1, you have the opportunity to attempt mock number 1 under exam conditions, which is a full 3-hour mock exam, which is exam standard, which is the best way to practice your answering, time management, and stress management techniques, which I taught at the 3rd webinar. So if you didn't attend the 3rd webinar, or if you're yet to watch the recorded version, please visit the videos tab and click on webinar number 3, answer planning, to understand how we should deal with answering and time management techniques. All right, so these are the resources on offer, free of charge. So create a free account by clicking on this button. And if you're yet to join our SCS WhatsApp discussion forum, click on this button and join it. Because via this group, we'll keep you guys informed of the weekly webinar and workshop commencement dates and times. And on top of that, we are sharing hordes of free resources with you. And if you have any questions, you can get them addressed instantaneously, because I'm always active on this WhatsApp group. And talking about what we offer 2 packages, the essential course and the premium course. The Essential is designed for those who have completed their OTQs or those who are coming through the traditional route. Since you have completed your OTQs, you have already learned the theory elements covered within E3, F3, and P3. And since you are coming through the traditional route, you have already completed the previous CIMA case study examinations. So you know how these examinations work and what you need to do to pass this exam. So simply, when it comes to conducting preparations, your job should be to brush up your application capabilities. So that's why we have included these resources under the Essential course. Via the Essential course, you'd gain access to the recordings of all weekly webinars and workshops, 7 mock exams with suggested answers, which cover 63 questions in total. And on top of that, you'd get access to an ethics document as well, which highlights various different angles concerning business ethics. And we have made sure to cover all 60 odd syllabus areas which can be tested at the exam. And also you'd gain access to the pre-scene analysis videos. Once you have watched the videos, you can gain an in-depth insight about the internals, externals, and financials of your chosen company. You will also gain access to the annotated pre-scene, the industry analysis, and financial analysis slides. Let me quickly show you what these resources look like. As you can see, we have included tutor annotations with the intention of summarizing the entire pre-scene. And at the same time, we have conducted our own analysis. And based on this analysis, we have highlighted the probable exam scenarios which can be tested at your examination. And when developing our mock exams, we have made sure to cover all these elements. And similarly, we have evaluated the financial statements, making sure to keep things simple so that you can gain a clear insight about the financial performance of your chosen company against its closest competitors. And at the very end, we have conducted a ratio analysis again with the intention of ensuring that you'd gain deeper insights about the financial situation of your chosen company. And we have also developed a set of industry analysis slides. Once you read through these slides, you'd gain a clear insight about what real-life companies go through or how real-life companies operate within your chosen industry, which gives you some additional information about what can be the type of scenarios which can be tested at your exam. And you'd gain additional insights about how a typical 3D printer manufacturing company operates within your chosen industry. You'd also gain access to the top 10 likely issue slides, which indicates the most probable scenarios which can be tested at your exam. You will also gain access to a case study familiarization kit. Once you have read through this kit, you will gain an in-depth understanding of how the SCS exam operates and how your knowledge is tested at this exam. You'd also gain access to a tutor-managed live chat and OTQ revision cards. So after attempting each mock exam, if you feel that you cannot remember a certain conceptual element, do not waste time to go through your bulky study texts or your old notes. Simply refer to the OTQ revision cards. In a jiffy, you are in a position to brush up your knowledge. So the Essential course used to be 299 pounds, but we are offering a 60% discount given the fact that you simply have 10 days until your examination. So we are only, previously also when it was 299, we were only charging for the 7 mock exams and suggested answers. All the other resources included via the Essential were shared with you free of charge. Now the same resources are at a 60% discount. So you have the opportunity of purchasing the most crucial resources, which are our 7 mock exams at just 139 pounds. You can click on this button and purchase all these resources instantaneously. And talking about the premium course, this is designed for those who are coming through the exemption routes, as well as those who had failed the exam previously. So both these sets of students have the same problem. There are gaps in theory knowledge and issues with application. So with the intention of teaching you all 60 odd concepts which can be tested at the exam and also explaining how to deal with application, we have included some additional resources under the premium course on top of what appears via the Essential course. So via premium, you'd gain access to the online mock exam platform on which you can attempt all 7 mocks under exam conditions, which is the best way to practice your answering, time management, and stress management capabilities. You will gain access to answer plans of all 7 mock exams, which will ensure that You can conduct revision easily and in a foolproof manner. I took you through an answer plan when conducting the masterclass, and when conducting revision, your job should be to replicate these answer plans on your own. If you do so, you will understand how to approach each of the 60 conceptual elements in a successful manner on the day of your exam. You will also gain access to 20 plus masterclasses if you opt for premium. You identified what is contained within each masterclass. So when you watch these masterclasses, you will easily learn each theoretical concept covered within our mock exams. Not just the theoretical concepts, you will easily learn how to deal with application. So there aren't any resources out there which are intended to teach you application. So if you need to learn all 60 conceptual elements and at the same time learn application, simply watch our master classes, which are based on our mock exams. And you'd also gain access to in-depth tutor feedback on mocks 3 and 5. So these are the type of feedback on offer. As you can see, we have evaluated each and every paragraph, each and every point in depth, with the prime intention of ensuring that you understand your shortcomings. Because if not, you will end up repeating the same mistakes over and over, and you will commit similar mistakes on the day of your exam. So once you receive this type of in-depth tutor feedback, you will understand your shortcomings, and you can take steps to overcome these issues when you're conducting revision. So this type of feedback on offer at TCS, and at the very end, we do indicate marks on a subtask by subtask basis. Not just marks, we do indicate a success rate as well. And by looking at the yellow highlighted elements, you can easily understand the subtasks in which your performance was substandard. And once you receive this type of feedback, then your job should be to redevelop answer plans focused on the subtasks which are highlighted in yellow. After you have redeveloped your answer plans, compare your fresh answer plans to TCS's. If there are major differences, you need to rewatch the master classes. Okay, so these are the type of feedback. This is the type of feedback on offer if you opt for the premium course. So once you have access to all these resources, you will pass for sure. That is why we are providing a pass guarantee via the premium course. So if you invest on premium and end up scoring between 70 to 79 marks, you will gain access to the premium resources in your subsequent sitting free of charge. Even if you take steps to master 2 or 3 mock exams, you will end up scoring 70 to 79. Just because you invest on premium, you are not going to pass. You need to take steps to master each of our mock exams. So most students, sometimes, not most students, sometimes they wait until the last moment to start preparations, and therefore they do not have time to really master all 7 mock exams. And these type of students end up failing the exam, scoring between 70 to 79. So if you invest on premium and score between 70 to 79 and end up failing, you will gain access to the premium content in your subsequent sitting free of charge. So the premium course is priced at £849, which can be paid in 3 installments of £283 each. Or if you pay in full, you will save £100. If so, the price is just £749. So you can invest on your preferred course by clicking on either of these buttons. And let me quickly take you to the 8-week SCS study plan, which we shared with you at the very beginning of our webinars and workshops, to be precise, at the first webinar. So I know for a fact that some of you are adhering to this study plan, and if you're one such individual, let's try to understand what you're supposed to achieve within this week. So we are in week number 7 as per our 8-week study plan, and you are supposed to dedicate 12 hours of study time. And within this week, you need to take steps to master 2 mock exams in total, mocks 6 and 7. And when it comes to mastering mock number 6, stick to our 3-step approach, which I'm going to explain in a little while. And when it comes to mastering mock number 7, simply, you need not attempt mock number 7 under exam conditions, because you have already attempted 6 mock exams, which is enough and more practice for you to get your answering time management and stress management techniques right on the day of your exam. So when it comes to mastering mock number 7, simply watch the 3 master classes to learn theory and application concerning the concepts covered within mock number 7, and then take steps to redevelop answer plans. So you need to put in some extra effort within this week. compared to what you encountered in the previous 2 or 3 weeks, because you need to take steps to master 2 mock exams in total. So, keep pushing yourselves, because if you do so within the exam week, which is the 8th week, you are simply supposed to be involved with last minute revision, which is to read through the answer plans concerning the 7 mock exams. Okay, so that's what you are supposed to achieve. So, as you know, as I mentioned earlier, we are offering a 60% discount on the essential course. So if you are still contemplating about what you need to invest on, whether or if you are still looking for exam standard and pre-scene specific mock exams, you have access to our full set of mock exams at just £139. Okay, and let me quickly direct your attention towards the 10-day plan. So as usual, I'm going to explain how you're supposed to stick to a 3-step process with the intention of mastering each of our 7 mock exams. So step number 1 is to practice a mock under exam conditions. The objective is not to come up with the best type of answers or the most successful answers. Instead, your objective should be to simply practice each mock under exam conditions to practice your answering, time management, and stress management capabilities. Once you have practiced these 3 technicalities, then take steps to learn theory and application by watching the master classes. So you experienced what is contained within our master classes a while back. So similarly, when you watch each master class, you will learn the theory concepts covered within each of our mock exams, as well as you will learn how to deal with application. Once you have learned your theory and application, test your knowledge, practice your capabilities by revising. When it comes to revision, your job should be to try and replicate TCS's answer plans on your own. Once you have redeveloped your answer plans, compare them to TCS's to see whether your answer plans are actually fruitful or successful. If you see major differences between your redeveloped answer plan when you compare it to TCS's, then you need to go back to rewatching the master classes. So since you have just 10 days at your disposal and until your examination, you really need to focus on steps 2 and 3, which is to learn and revise, because you do not have time to practice all 7 mocks under exam conditions. Instead, simply focus your attention towards practicing mocks 3 and 5, 2 mock exams under exam conditions, with the intention of practicing your answering, time management, and stress management techniques. Why mocks 3 and 5? Especially given the fact that you are receiving tutor feedback focused on mocks 3 and 5, but focusing on the remaining mock exams, you need to simply watch the master classes and take steps to redevelop answer plans, given the fact that you do not have time to attempt all 7 mock exams. So based on this premise, I've developed this 10-day plan. So day number 1 starts from tomorrow. So watch the pre-scene analysis videos, because you need to have a sound understanding of the internals, externals, and financials of your chosen company before you start your mock attempts, and then read through the questions and the answer plan of mock exam 1, and then take steps to redevelop answer plans concerning mock number 1. Then on the following day, take steps to master mock number 2 by watching the master classes, in which you'd learn the theory and theoretical concepts covered within mock number 2, as well as application, and take steps to solidify your understanding by redeveloping answer plans. It is crucial that you redevelop answer plans, because when you take steps to redevelop answer plans, you are taking steps to ensure that you will remember how to approach each conceptual element on the day of your exam, because you are taking steps to really understand the exact points which you need to consider on the day of your exam when tackling each conceptual element. So that's why it's not just essential to watch the master classes, you should also take steps to redevelop the answer plans. And in day number 3, attempt mock number 3 via the exam platform, because I said that I'm recommending to attempt at least 2 mocks under exam conditions to practice your answering, time management, and stress management capabilities. So with that in mind, attempt mock number 3, which will take 3 hours of your time. And on the 4th day, watch the relevant master classes and redevelop answer plans. So stick to this process. And if you do so, by the time you are on the 9th day or within 9 days, you have taken steps to master all 7 mock exams. So if you are contemplating about whether you have enough time to pass this examination, you still do. You still do have time. So start your preparations right now. But I need to be honest with you. You need to dedicate something like 4.5 hours on a daily basis. So you still have time. You still can do it. You can wake up early in the morning, or right after work you can focus on studying. The most effective way is to wake up early in the morning and dedicate 4.5 hours of study time on a daily basis. If you are capable of doing this, you can pass this exam comfortably. And on the 10th day, you are supposed to be involved with the last minute revision, which is simply to read through the answer plans of all 7 mock exams. When you are doing so, you are taking steps to remind yourself about how to approach each of the 60 odd conceptual elements and how to deal with application. And you are supposed to stop work a day before the exam. Rest well, because I want you to walk into the exam with a high level of open-mindedness. If you are open-minded before the exam, you will end up developing answers which are aligned with each requirement, and you will consider the exact information presented in each unseen at your real examination. So that is why it is essential that you achieve a high level of open-mindedness. In order to achieve a high level of open-mindedness, you have to stop your work at least a day prior to your exam. Take a good break so that you are calm and composed when you're walking into your examination. So things are tough. I have to be honest with you, but if you have already booked your exam, you have no other option but to really push yourself. If you can dedicate 4.5 hours of study time on a daily basis, you still can pass this examination. So after this session, I'm going to share this PDF with you via the WhatsApp group. Okay, so that's what you are supposed to achieve. And I'm sorry, I actually, when I was explaining the E3 syllabus, I ended up skipping one element mistakenly, tied to corporate governance and ethics. So these, if I explain quickly what these syllabus what can be tested under corporate governance and ethics, as I mentioned earlier, your knowledge concerning the combined code of corporate governance, which is practiced in the UK, as well as the COPPI framework or the CIMA code of ethics can be tested at your examination. So be prepared to face questions tied to board accountability. You should know what the board is responsible for, and what their main responsibilities are, and therefore what they are really accountable for. And also you should know how to deal with directors' remuneration. As you know, directors' remuneration should be set by the remuneration committee. The board members should not have the capability to suggest their own remuneration packages, as per what I highlighted in a previous workshop as well as a masterclass. And you should know how to deal with board restructures. They should be handled by the nomination committee. The board members should not have the capability to get rid of a board member on their own, or reshuffle the board on their own, or appoint someone new. Instead, it should be handled by the nomination committee. I've explained all these things in depth during the pre-scene analysis, within the pre-scene analysis videos, as well as within the master classes I've already shared with you. And also, you should know how to deal with board appointments, whether to appoint an executive director or a non-executive director, the pros and cons of appointing an executive director versus a non-executive director, and how to deal with dismissing a director, because there's a way in which we should operate when it comes to dismissing a director, with the intention of ensuring that it will not these type of dismissals will not lead to a lack of or a drop of shareholder confidence, because if that is the case, our share price will be impacted adversely. So we have to look into all these angles when it comes to dismissing a director. And so these are everything tied to corporate governance, and various different angles concerning ethical behavior can be tested. So be prepared to evaluate the chairman's or any other board members' actions concerning corporate governance best practices and ethical behavior or ethical best practices, and also be prepared to evaluate various different ethical angles which are contained within the 7 mock exams. And also you have access to an ethics document which carry various different additional questions tied to ethics related elements. So be prepared to evaluate the ethics of lobbying, how to conduct lobbying or corporate political activity in an ethical manner, how to market ourselves in an ethical manner, especially if we are marketing ourselves as a sustainable business, which is not exactly true. So you should know how such claims will impact the CIMA Code of Ethics, and also the ethics of utilizing green finance for our benefit, because sometimes businesses end up utilizing green finance and this funding is actually not utilized for green initiatives. Instead, this funding can be utilized for normal business practices. So if that is the case, it is unethical. So you should have the capability to utilize the relevant angles of the COPPI framework when evaluating whether utilizing green funding for normal business practices is ethical or not. And also the ethics tied to sustainability disclosures, the ethics tied to how we deal with a ransomware threat. If we pay a ransom, for instance, if we are impacted adversely by a ransomware, and because of that, if we end up paying a ransom, you should have the capability of evaluating whether it is ethical or not. And the ethics of reverse engineering one of our customers' products. You should have the capability to evaluate whether it is ethical or not. So always remember, whenever you are dealing with a question tied to corporate governance, always utilize your knowledge which you have gained via the combined code of corporate governance, which is practiced in the UK. And also when tackling a question tied to ethics, utilize your knowledge concerning the COPPI framework or the confidentiality, objectivity, professional competence, and due care, professional behavior, and integrity framework. I'm not asking you to focus on all 5 elements, because in certain questions you might have to consider all 5 elements, but in another set of questions you will only have to consider the relevant elements, which could be just 2 or 3. So you should have a sound understanding of the COPPI framework. If so, you will know exactly which angles you are supposed to consider in your answers. Okay, so all these angles are covered within our 7 mock exams, as well as the additional ethics document we have shared with you. Okay, so we are happy to say that we achieved a 90% pass rate in May 2026 exams. You can achieve a first-time pass if you stick to our study plan and end up utilizing our resources. Okay, and having said that, it brings us to the Q&A. So if you have any questions, you can switch on your mic and have a chat with me, or you can drop a message to our chat. So let's look at the type of questions you have raised so far.
Yeah, hello.
Hi. Yeah. How can I
Yeah,
help?
hello, Nick. Yeah, sure. So I realized that the master classes, your answers are very, very detailed. And looking at the time frame within which we are to type, is our responses or answers supposed to be that detailed?
Not exactly. So if you look at our mock exams, you would have understood that in each section, we have included 3 subtasks in total. But in your real exam, you will see just one single section which will carry 3 subtasks, but in 2 sections, you will see just 2 subtasks. So we are forced to include 3 subtasks per section, with the intention of covering the entire syllabus, because if you look at your syllabus, it is divided into 60 odd syllabus areas. So that is why when attempting our mock exams, you will struggle with time. So that's the first point. And secondly, if you look at our answer plans, I do agree with you. If you look at today's question, which I discussed with you, this is an in-depth and holistic answer. But that does not mean that the examiner expects you to develop these type of answers, because the objective of sharing these type of in-depth answers is to ensure that you have a good understanding of all angles. However, as a student, you are not expected to cover all these angles, because you cannot do so. I've been, teaching these CIMA case study exams as well as OTQs previously for the past, 12 to 15 years. I cannot actually remember. So, by doing so, by doing the by going through the same process over and over, I've, gathered a sound insight about how to develop holistic answers concerning each of the 60 odd syllabus areas. That does not mean that you are supposed to, remember everything, or remember answers which are akin to TCSs. We are trying to push you to remember everything which are akin to TCSs. That's why we have developed master classes, as well as that's why we have developed answer plans, so that when it comes to conducting your preparations or your studies, when you have access to these type of summarized versions as opposed to the extended versions, it makes your life easy to remember how to approach each conceptual element. So our objective is to share all information as well as all far-reaching and holistic knowledge with you. That does not mean that you should have the capability to develop this type of in-depth answers on your own. I hope I addressed your concern. Did I address your concern?
Yes, I'm okay.
Hi,
So
Nick. Hi, Nick. I have a question. Sometimes I notice that the question I don't fully understand. For example, for example, you mentioned about the disciplinary action. So how to sort it out this kind of a problem then?
If I'm not mistaken, you are referring to a question to do with disciplinary action. Yes.
Yeah. Sometimes when I don't fully understand the question, so yeah.
So well, disciplinary action, if employees are not adhering to internal controls, we have to pursue disciplinary action. Okay, so these are so as I mentioned earlier, employees are supposed to adhere to internal controls. For instance, if I simplify things, you're not supposed to walk into your office after 9 a.m. For instance, you have to be punctual. So that's an internal control, implemented by any given organization to ensure that the staff members are coming on time. If so, they are in a position to, start their jobs on time, which will end up generating value for the business as well as customers. So if you keep repeatedly breaching this control, if you when you are supposed to come to work at 9, if you go to office at 9:30 on a continuous basis, then your manager is going to take action against you. That is what disciplinary action is all about. Got it?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So this is covered within one of our mock exams. So if I'm not mistaken, mock number 3. So I hope you watched the master classes in which I've explained what this is all about. And if you find it appears that English is not your mother tongue, so if you are struggling with a certain word, if you cannot understand it, check the definition, then you'd gain an understanding of what is actually tested in each requirement. One of you is asking a question: what examples of integrated additive manufacturing is there? I'm guessing we need to provide examples in the exam. Well, not exactly. You need not provide examples. So I was talking about integrated Give me a second, please. Was it here? Under this proposal, cloud-based platform, install software, AI supported print setting, benchmark material dot. Okay, several members, the objectives. Okay, I was talking about this somewhere. Give me a second, please. I need to find this. Okay, so one of the objectives which I've highlighted is strengthen our position as a company which is providing integrated additive manufacturing solutions. So what type of integration am I talking about? I'm talking about a situation where we are not just solely selling 3D printers in isolation. Instead, we are providing an end-to-end solution. And that is exactly what we can achieve by selling this new platform, which is Kwirtmak Connect, because via Kwirtmak Connect, we are in a position to ensure that customers have the ability to monitor printer performance in real time. They will benefit from predictive maintenance alerts. They have the possibility of installing approved software updates automatically, and they can access AI supported print setting recommendations, and they can integrate their own software, CAD software, for instance, with this new platform seamlessly, and they can benchmark material usage, downtime, and print accuracy across sites to see where the printers are actually functioning well, and the locations in which the printers are facing some type of hiccups. So these are additional services on offer on top of just selling a 3D printer. So you need not actually provide examples, given the fact that the additional services are actually highlighted within this unseen. And if you look at pre-seen information, if you look at the type of business we conduct, we are not just into selling 3D printers. We are also into supplying the raw material which are utilized to 3D print something. So that's one element of an integrated solution which we are offering, because we are not just selling because if we compare ourselves with competitors, let's assume there's a competitor which is only selling a 3D printer. So we have a competitive advantage compared to this competitor which is only selling a 3D printer, because we are not just selling a 3D printer. We are also selling the raw material or supplying the raw material which can be utilized to 3D print something. On top of it, when we pursue to offer additional services, we are offering end-to-end solutions. So you can increase your revenues as well as your competitiveness if you are in a position to offer end-to-end solutions to your customers. So that's the type of integration I was referring to. Okay, so you need not provide examples, because these type of integrated solutions are already mentioned within this unseen. I hope I addressed your concern. Considering that this is a 40-mark question, one of you is asking a question. Considering that this is a 40-mark question, not a 40-mark question. This carries a weightage of 40%. This is a 20-mark question. That is a lot to write. Would we have to write all of that, or write just maybe 3 or 4 of them? Well, as I mentioned earlier, I explained how you are supposed to work out how many points you need to include in your answer to gain full marks. And I did the maths, and I said that you need to include 7 to 10 points. So if you include 7 points, you still have the possibility of achieving full marks. So as also one of you were asking a similar question previously. You were asking as to whether you are expected to develop the same type of depths or achieve the same type of depth when developing your answers, which is not expected. My objective when sharing these answers, the suggested answers, answer plans, and when conducting these master classes, is to ensure that you have a full understanding of how to approach each conceptual element. But at the exam, the same type of knowledge or capabilities are not expected. So if you take steps to attempt mocks, then watch the master classes, and then redevelop answer plans, that is what is necessary, which will ensure that you are considering a holistic approach when conducting evaluations as well as recommendations. I hope I addressed your concern. Patricia is asking a question: is there a webinar tomorrow? There was supposed to be this. I was supposed to conduct this webinar tomorrow, but something came up. Because of that, I rescheduled to Friday night. So there's no workshop tomorrow. I've already conducted it. One of you is asking a question. I can't find the £139 discount on the TCS website. Does anyone have a link? Well, if you visit the SCS page, I'm on the website. So, and scroll down, you'll see that the package is £139. So you can click on this button and purchase it instantaneously. You can pay by your debit or credit card. Once you had paid, you'd gain access to the student dashboard automatically, via which you can access all the resources provided under the essential course. One of you is asking a question. Sorry. You mentioned the shortcomings for economic trend risk. Could you please summarize for other risks mentioned in the risk register? Well, I've already done it. So I explained this in depth at previous week's webinar, in which I took you through the P3 related syllabus areas. So if you seems like you missed it, please go watch the recorded version, which can be accessed via student dashboard and via our YouTube handle. And also in one of the pre-scene analysis videos, I've done an in-depth evaluation of each type of risk which appears within your risk register, 5 risks to be precise. And on top of that, I've highlighted the shortcomings and I've explained each of the shortcomings, thereby explaining some additional risks which we should have considered within our risk register, but we have missed them out. Okay, so if you refer to the annotated pre-scene, you will gain a clear insight, because as you know, if you look at the principal risks as per your pre-scene, there are 5 risks which the company has already identified. So I've evaluated each of the stated risks, highlighting the strength of the current mitigation, and also suggesting enhancements if there are any weaknesses. And I've evaluated the 5 risks, and on top of that, I've highlighted the notable gaps as well, or the type of risks we should have considered, but which does not appear within your current risk register. So I've highlighted the recommendations concerning each type of risk. So I've explained each of these identified and missing risks in depth within the pre-scene analysis videos. You have access to the same information via the annotated pre-scene. And also, I explained these things in a jiffy in last week's masterclass and workshop. So please utilize these resources. If you invest on paid content, you'd gain access to the annotated pre-scene and the pre-scene analysis videos, which are the most important tools which will ensure that you gain a good insight about the risks which are contained within your risk report, as well as the risks which are missing from your risk report. I hope I addressed your concern. One of you is asking a question: if assumed I have no complete, if I assume that I have no complete theory knowledge, can I answer with business knowledge questions such as foreign exchange or business valuation or even sustainability, IT security area? So that is why you have access to the master classes. Okay, so as an individual who has access to the master classes, I've covered all these elements. So watch these master classes, be attentive, make sure to redevelop answer plans, keep redeveloping answer plans over and over until you are sure of how to approach each conceptual element. Because if you look at what we have highlighted, foreign exchange risk, when you're tackling a question to do with foreign exchange risk, it's quite straightforward. There are 3 to 4 tools which are supposed to consider. If you write about these 3 to 4 tools, you are going to get full marks. And again, business valuation, a highly technical area. There are certain angles which you need to consider, various different valuation models, because when it comes to valuing a business, the type of valuation models which you should use are different concerning a quoted company and an unquoted company. So both these angles are covered within our mock exams. So watch the masterclasses, then you will learn or identify the exact valuation models which you need to consider when you are valuing an unquoted company as well as a quoted company. A highly technical area. So you cannot utilize your business knowledge when you're trying to value a business. Instead, you need to understand what the valuation techniques highlighted within your F3 syllabus. Okay. And similarly, you have mentioned about sustainability. Yes, you can consider your business knowledge when tackling a question to do with sustainability, but it is better to have a foolproof understanding of all angles which you should consider. That's why you should watch the master classes and take steps to redevelop answer plans. And IT security, again, rather than trying to come up with controls or suggest controls on your own or mitigatory strategies to insulate ourselves against IT security, it is better to refer to the master classes and redevelop answer plans so that you have a foolproof understanding of all types of controls which you should end up suggesting at your real examination. So stick to the process, watch the master classes and take steps to redevelop answer plans, because what you have highlighted, most of the areas you have highlighted are highly technical. So when tackling highly technical areas, don't try to come up with your own logical answers unless and otherwise you are clueless of how to approach a certain conceptual element. Since you have access to all the master classes, I've covered the entire syllabus. So utilize the resources on offer. I hope I addressed your concern. One of you is asking a question. Is Kwirtmak Connect? It's not Kwirtmak Connect, actually, it's Kwirtmak. I just highlighted about a digital platform which is fictitious, which does not appear within your pre-scene. I've just come up with a new platform with the intention of testing your knowledge. So I've concerning various different syllabus areas. So I've simply highlighted about a new platform, Kwirtmak Connect, with the intention of developing a scenario in which we are trying to introduce something new to the market. So there is no mention within the pre-scene about a platform which is known as Kwirtmak Connect. So it appears that you do not have a good understanding about the pre-scene or the content of the pre-scene. That's why you are asking whether Kwirtmak Connect, you are naming this case study as Kwirtmak Connect, which is not the case. And you are also asking whether this case study is applicable for August and November. Not exactly. If you look at the pre-scene, where's the pre-scene? Give me a second, please. It appears that we have not read through the pre-scene. It clearly states that this pre-scene is relevant for May and August 2026 exams. In November, your knowledge will be tested based on a totally new pre-scene, which will be relevant for November 2026 and February 2027 exams. Okay, so if you are planning on sitting for the exams happening in August, at least gain access to the essential course so that you at least have access to the pre-scene related resources, which will give you a good insight into the internals, externals, and financials of your chosen company. And at least when you have access to the 7 mock exams, you will understand how each of the 60 odd conceptual elements can be tested. And if you can really afford the premium course, go for it, because I feel that you'd benefit by having access to the master classes and answer plans. I hope I addressed your concern. Anything else, folks? Any questions, any doubts? All right, seems like there aren't any questions. So if you want to contact us, you can do it via our website, which is www.study@tcs.com. visit our website and click on the contact button and drop us a message so that our admin staff can get in touch with you via email during office hours, or you can simply email us at info@study@tcs.com, or if you need instantaneous support, you can drop me a WhatsApp via this WhatsApp number. And I urge you to follow us on our social media handles, especially YouTube and TikTok, because the recorded versions of the weekly webinars and workshops are uploaded to our YouTube handle. And via TikTok, you'd gain access to the video version of our pre-seen mind map. So there are 6 TikToks in total. Keep watching these 6 TikToks over and over so that you are constantly keeping yourself reminded of the most important points highlighted within the pre-seen. And if you're yet to read the blog post which we have developed focused on Kwirtmak, visit our blog area and read this blog so that you'd gain a clear insight of the internals, externals, and financials of your chosen company. And having said that, it brings us to the end of the E3 masterclass and workshop. I hope you gained something out of this session. I hope you understood the syllabus areas which can be tested tied to your E3 syllabus, as well as I hope you understood how to deal with a question tied to objective setting, critical success factors, and KPIs. And as I shared at the very end of today's session, I shared a 10-day study plan with you. So if you really can commit 4.5 hours on a daily basis to conduct your preparations, then you are in a position to still pass this examination. So if you are halfway through one of our study plans, keep pushing yourself. Things might feel tough, especially closer to the exam, because this is when negative thoughts set in. This is when you'd start doubting yourself. Do not listen to your these negative thoughts. Keep pushing yourself. Stick to the study plans which we have shared. And if you're still contemplating about what you need to do to pass this exam, I shared a 10-day plan with you. And if you need access to resources, you still can invest and start your preparations to ensure that you pass in your upcoming examination. So keep pushing yourselves. If you have any questions, drop me a message via WhatsApp. I'm always there to help you. And I expect to see you guys next Saturday, in which I'm going to share last minute tips with you. So thank you very much for joining. I'll see you guys next Saturday. Until then, keep pushing yourselves. Stick to the study plans I've shared with you.